What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another PSGL video. I believe we're on round number 5, this time in Austria. If you haven't been following along, well, it's been a bit of an eventful season, you know. It's been good so far. We've scored points in 3 of the 4 races. This was the last race in Qatar, and to say the least, we were in the wars. You know, there was a lot going on. It was very, very eventful. We had a few spins here and there. Right here, we get smacked as the Red Bull rejoins the track from the gravel, and it was an up and down race. You know, we had our highs, we had our lows, and after a safety car, we thought we were back in it, and then I did the standard Bamford MB bottle, and we bottled it, but we did come home to score some points in the end, and it was a P7, which puts us in P8 in the driver's standings, and it's pretty much, you just score points in every race, you're going to be within the top 10 somewhere in this league, pretty much. So P8 in the league so far. You know, there's people around us very, very close, so there's all to play for as we could maybe make a push for the top 5. And we have a look at the constructors here. We're currently P2 in the constructors, Alfa Romeo with a lengthy lead out in front, and Mercedes just behind us. So we're well and truly inside that top 3, and we're looking for maybe a solid points performance here, and we could close that gap to P1, because there is no there is one Alfa Romeo reserve driver in here, but the person who's top of the driver's standings in the other Alfa Romeo isn't here this weekend. So it is a chance for us to get some momentum in the Williams camp and try and close on in to Alfa Romeo at the top. And this first lap right here is going incredible in qualifying, but we are very close to the Alfa Romeo ahead of us as we round that downhill right-hander, and we decide to back off. I felt we were too close. I thought he was going to be a little bit better on that first lap, so he started a little close, got that slipstream down those 2 straights, and it was a phenomenal lap from us, to be honest. It felt really, really good, but I just felt like we were too close at the end, so I decided to back off, go again, and I think that might have been a bit of a mistake, because we were on a really solid lap, and it could have been a solid banker, and we weren't able to set a banker after that. We made a mistake, and all of a sudden, with 7 minutes left, we don't have a time on the board. But as we round the final sector here, it's a very fast final sector, and it's kind of difficult to keep it in those white lines. It is very easy to run on over. If you watch F1 in real life, Austria was that problem track. We had time penalties left, right and centre. Even after the race, we had time penalties being awarded to 5, 6, 7 drivers. I mean, I remember Ocon got 30 seconds worth of time penalties. So, you know, there was time penalties galore in real life, and pretty much we've put the pressure on us as we go into what could be our final run here. 3 minutes left in the session. We're about a 10th down on our fastest first sector time. It wasn't a strong first sector at all, but we've got to put a time on the board to see where we can go against the rest of the field. I felt pretty confident here around Austria. I had a good setup, had a good car, but it's just qualifying. I'm just a bottle job in qualifying as we get purple sector 2. I'm not sure how true that is, because it didn't feel like a purple sector 2. If it was a purple sector 2, then fair play to me, but I don't think it was a purple sector 2. I think it was a game being a bit glitches. We hit the curb a little too much, and then on the exit we run wide by the tiniest bit, and yeah, invalidate our lap for this lap and the following lap. So it's a nightmare scenario. We haven't even got a time on the board, and as we go for the exit out of turn 3, it's tragic. We crash out, and I just retire out of frustration. P12 we were, and in that invalidation lap when we ran a little bit wide, we did a 104.2, so we could have been up in P5 or P6. I felt like I could have even potentially snuck in the top 4 if I did that perfect lap, but qualifying is really my big problem right now. Every race we struggle in qualifying. I can't get a proper lap in, and it is so frustrating because I'm always starting at the back and doing a recovery drive. I feel like a bit like Sergio Perez in real life. I'm bottling it, getting knocked out early, starting near the back, and then working my way through the field as the race goes along. So it's a little bit frustrating, and I always seem to be starting on the hards as well, because when you're at the back, you might as well start on the hards, take it long, maybe hope for a late safety car, chuck on the mediums. That's pretty much been my strategy every single race, and it's not going to change here in Austria as we're starting P12. There's only 14 drivers here today, but P12, we're in Austria, 5 red lights, and away we go in Austria, down into turn 1. It could get a little bit spicy, especially in F13. Are there going to be any incidents? Not quite yet. We go for a move around the outside of that Aston Martin, pretty much just trying to stay out of trouble, and it looks like everybody has got through the first corner cleanly. That is a shock. So no incidents just yet as we come into turn 3. Is anybody gonna crash into each other? No, it looks like everybody's going clean. Fair play to everyone in F13. We've got through cleanly through the first few corners, and we've done well ourselves. We're in P13, so we've lost a position, but we lost the position to a medium runner who would have probably got through past us very quick anyway. But no damage for us. I don't think anybody has got any damage on this opening lap, so it's a solid start. We've got one driver behind us, but we're just gonna run our race here. Run our race, try and take it easy as always. Do our best not to get any penalties, especially in a place like Austria. It's going to be easy for people to get penalties, so if we get no penalties and stay with the pack, we should be able to score some easy points, I reckon. As up ahead, you can see they're going side by side, almost 3 wide into turn 1, but it is 2 wide. We're going to see if we can get a decent exit. We do get a good exit, and Aston Martin was very, very slow there. I mean, he just has no straight line speed by the looks of it as we zoom past him up into P11. So we'll take a couple of free positions. Thank you very much. Up into P11. Up ahead, we got the Red Bull as we get a bit of a poor exit. That's a corner that I seem to struggle a little bit. You get on that gas too early, you lose that rear end, and it could be curtains. A bit like it was in qualifying. We spun out at that exact corner, so we've got to be careful, and that is not ideal at all. Getting a track limit warning 2 laps into a race, especially around Austria, and at that corner as well. I was not happy at all. Getting a track limit warning at that corner is yeah, it's a bit poor, really. If it was at one of these corners down here, I'd have been a bit more okay with it. As you see the Red Bull coming into the pit, so he does have wing damage. He actually missed that white line on the pit entry. He went wide of it just a little bit, which kind of forced me to go a little wide, and it's allowing the Aston Martin a chance potentially at going down the inside, but we hold him off for now. He's better than he's good at knowing that you don't want to send one down the inside at turn 1. It's not the smartest of moves. You might as well wait for the straights, but he can't get close enough just yet. He is on that medium tyre, so he should be able to get past us very, very soon. And you can see we have fallen out of that DRS zone in front of us. So through goes the Aston Martin. We're not going to fight it too much. It's just, we got to remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You know, in these league races, sometimes people get caught up in the moment. In the first couple laps, they want to battle for every position, and they lose time left, right, and centre, and potentially get wing damage or any sort of damage that could almost throw them out the race. As Zettany, the Mercedes, goes out as well. So we're up into the points now. But it is important to just remember that it is a long, long race, and you're going to get them eventually. For example, this medium runner, he's dumped all of his ERS, and we've just slowly closed back in, used that DRS to stay with him, and now this is going to be a very simple overtake on the exit of turn 1. His tyres are starting to go. He's got no ERS, so he's got no defence. We say thank you very much. Back up into P9 we go. And yeah, if you play it smart, you're going to get them back eventually. You just don't want to lose too much time. You've got to focus on your own race and think about the long game. And we do that very well. And also this McLaren, I think, does that very well as well, because he was with us. Very similar pace to us. No penalties for him either. Whereas people around us are getting penalties left, right, and centre, which is very, very promising indeed. As you see the McLaren, I mean, he's done well to catch that. He has done very well to catch that. He loses the rear, goes onto the gravel, but just about caught it. That could have been lights out for him. He would have bought out a safety car, and that would have been awful for us, because people would have pit onto the hards, gone to the end, and I don't think the mediums would have made it to the end from lap 10. So good thing he didn't crash, and he's still in the Grand Prix. But as I was saying, that McLaren looked to have similar pace to us, and he was kind of staying in our DRS, and he was working with us a little bit. He understood the long game as well. He understood to save the ERS, stay in the DRS, and we kind of were working together to get through the pack because we were on a very similar strategy, hards to mediums. Unlike the Alfa Romeo in front, who's on very old mediums, it's going to be difficult for him to hold it on through as he turns into us. What is he doing? What is he doing? We've left him so much room around the outside. He's just turned into us, tried to take the apex. I mean, that was a bit of a weird one. You know, you got 12 seconds of penalties. You're on old mediums. Just let me go. I mean, you can see this as we slow it down. He just turns into us. We're halfway off the track. Almost all of our car is off the track there, and he's hit us as we go into the corner. But thankfully, we don't spin out, and we get through regardless of that. So through we go. And as most of the people have pit now, we're on lap 18. We're up into P4. The McLaren goes down the inside, and we're not going to fight it. We're going to play smart still. Play smart, run our race. Although on the exit, I get a bit excited. Think that I can maybe get him back. But we're just trying to just play it smart. You know, play it easy. Run our race. Because the moment you start battling, you risk potentially getting penalties as well. Like track limit penalties. You try and push it too much. Spinning it. Ending your race early. We don't want to do that. We just want to chill. So we're just going to chill behind the McLaren. Although he is coming into the pits. So the hards are really going off at this point. The McLaren comes into the pits on lap 18. And that's going to, you know, kind of force our hand and have us go in the following lap. I think we were going to go in on lap 19 anyway, but another incentive behind is Casto, the race leader, net P1 technically. He's net P1. We wanted to try and hold him up to help our teammate, but we get an awful exit out of turn 1 and see you later, Casto. So he's going to go on and have a good day. We're trying to ruin his race a little bit and hold him up to let our teammate catch up, but we were unable to do that. The hards were just cooked. They were at like 55-60%. The tyre wear around here is pretty big. So we come in at the end of the lap onto a set of mediums, and you can see that McLaren out in front. He's got 1.5 second gap, but even better than that, 3 second time penalty. So on his out lap, he's got a penalty, and that's fantastic news for us because he is around the same pace as us. He's got a bit of a gap to us. So as long as we stay in within that 3 seconds, we will come home in P8, at least for now. We've just got to play it safe and not get any more track limit warnings. We only have that first track limit warning from lap 2. Ever since then, we've kept it in the white lines and we've been racing very, very well indeed. And we just want to try and push just that little bit to see if we can get within that DRS of the McLaren. And we were unable to. As you can see, the ERS is down to 10% as we have a big moment there. On the entry, the rear goes sliding. We go off the circuit and we lose about a second to the McLaren ahead. I'm glad we didn't get a warning for that because we did lose about a second. So if we would have got a warning, it would have been very, very harsh indeed. But that's not something you want to be doing too often because that will give the McLaren a bit more confidence. And we want to keep putting him under pressure to see if maybe he could get another warning and get another penalty, which will make it easier for us. As there is a spinner in front, it's the Ferrari who's gone round. I would be happy with a safety car right now, bunch up the field and penalties. We would love everybody else to have penalties because the field would be bunched up, and then we'll be with inside the Alpine up ahead, Hugo, who also has a 3 second penalty. But we're putting in some solid laps. We're just driving smart. We're not over pushing it. We could easily over push it, get our penalty ourselves. And then we will have to overtake that McLaren, which is probably the last thing I want to do because if we could just sit behind him and take P7, I will be buzzing. As you can see, Hugo, the Alpine, gets another 3 seconds and he's up to 6 seconds in total. If that's not an incentive to push, I don't know what is. Because now I have an incentive to push, to catch the McLaren and to put the Alpine under a bit more pressure because he knows that I don't have a penalty. And he's got about a 2 second margin to me. So if we could close that down, get that to about a 1.5 seconds, get that to about a second margin and put him under pressure, maybe he'll make a mistake, drop back, maybe he'll get more warnings and he'll get a 9 second penalty, or we close that gap. So we might as well push. We've got nothing to lose. As long as we keep it in the track and we play this smart, we could potentially get a P6 in Austria, which would be a fantastic result after starting P12. We've just got to hope that the McLaren plays it well and kind of helps us out. I'm not sure if he will because he's not going to catch Hugo, but Hugo's made a mistake. The Alpine is out. I don't think he's out completely, but he certainly has wing damage. He's down to P8. And that just makes our life so easy. As you can see, Miller the Driller is up in P5 without a penalty. All we have to do now for the remaining couple of laps is stay behind the McLaren, and we've got a solid P6 here in Austria as we're about to enter the final lap. I think we still have 2 more track limit warnings left, but I don't want to risk it because if I've got 2 and I don't know, I don't want to risk it and go wide and then have a 3-second penalty and then have to overtake the McLaren. But anyway, we want to get P6 on track, so we're going to go for the move around the outside. We get a fantastic exit out of turn 1, and we've got past him well before the braking zone, but we do go a little bit defensive just to make sure he doesn't send a dive bomb at the inside. But the McLaren on the exit, he obviously wants to get P6 on track as well. As long as we don't make contact, sure, let's have a little bit of a battle. He dives down the inside. We're going to look for a switchback, but I'll tell you what, he's parked his car in the perfect place on that braking zone. I was a little bit worried to try and hold it around the outside just in case he misses his braking zone, forces us onto the gravel, and then we drop down the order. Even worse, we get damaged and have to retire or something like that. So we were kind of playing it a bit safe. Didn't want to do it as aggressive as maybe we would have if he didn't have a penalty. But we kind of played it a bit safe. Wanted to get P6 on track, but we're going to have to settle for P7 on track. But we get a fantastic exit out of the last corner. Almost getting the McLaren, but it will be P7 on track, but P6 as the race results come on in. And when we have a look at the race results, there was 0 stewards inquiries. So great job, everybody. Nobody reported to the stewards, which means it was a pretty clean race. We had a couple of spinners here and there, but other than that, no reports to the stewards. So no penalties after the race other than the track limit penalties. And we will take home P6, which will drop us down to P9 in the standings, but will keep us in that fight for potentially a top 5 finish. We're only 5 points away from P5, 8 points away from P4. So we're still in that fight, picking up points here and there. Next time in Japan, I'm looking forward to that one. Hopefully we could try and get another solid points finish to boost our way up the standings. And if you have a look at the constructors standings as well, we are only now 8 points behind Alfa Romeo because neither driver turned up and the reserve driver didn't score any points. So 8 points behind Alfa Romeo. If we could get a couple more solid results in and Miller the Driller can maybe beat Nogueira, because I'm not going to beat him, he's too fast, then who knows, maybe we can make a push for P1 in the constructors standings. If you guys are enjoying this PSGL series, make sure you go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, let me know in the comments where you think we're going to finish this season in the drivers and the constructors, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.